What's up guys, my name is Stoody. I'd like to welcome you all back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my AFL Round 10 tips for the 2025 AFL season. Now before we get into this week's tips, let's go ahead and see how I went last week. So last week I got 8 out of 9 correct tips, which now moves me up to 64 correct tips for the season. So let's go ahead and see what ones I got correct and what ones I got incorrect. So here are the ones that I got correct. I tipped Collingwood to defeat Fremantle. I tipped Carlton to defeat St Kilda. I tipped Hawthorn to rob Melbourne. I tipped Sydney to defeat Essendon. However, that game was obviously rigged, so that does count as a correct tip. I tipped Gold Coast to rob Western Bulldogs. I tipped Adelaide to defeat Port Adelaide. I tipped Richmond to defeat West Coast. And I tipped Brisbane to defeat North Melbourne, but that was a draw, so it still counts as a correct tip. So that means the only one I got incorrect was that I tipped Geelong to defeat the GWS Giants. So now let's go ahead and get into this week's tips. So starting off Thursday night, another really stupid Thursday night game. A game that no one can watch. I don't understand why the AFL continue to have bullshit Thursday night games. We have Gold Coast taking on Hawthorn at Tyro Stadium. I'm going to be taking Gold Coast in this one by 15 points. It'll be very interesting to see what way the match fixing goes in this one, because Hawthorn, the most protected team in the AFL, Gold Coast, the team Andrew Dillon supports, it's an awkward one. But maybe they'll call it down the middle, maybe they'll choose a team to protect, I don't know. I'm going to be Gold Coast in this one by 15 points. They are very good in Darwin, the Suns, and they seem to have the wood over Hawthorn, especially in Darwin. And they're the better team, so I just think Gold Coast, with the home ground advantage and the wood over Hawthorn, I think they get the job done on Thursday night in a game that no one can watch. Moving on to Friday night, we have Sydney taking on Carlton at the SCG, and I'm going to be Sydney in this one by 2 points. Who knows with this one? You cannot trust either team. Sydney... I thought they were back, but then they get robbed, unable to defy the match fixing. Yeah, surely they are back at some point. As for Carlton, historically, they don't seem to do too well at the SCG, so I'm going to tip Sydney with absolutely no confidence, only because it's at the SCG. If the game was in Melbourne, I'd 100% be tipping Carlton. I mean, sometimes it's just a safe option to go with the home team. When in doubt, just go with the home team. Moving on to Saturday afternoon, we have Collingwood taking on Adelaide at the MCG. I'm going to be in Collingwood in this one by 3 points. This game is always close. I mean, whenever these two teams face, it's always under a goal, regardless of ladder position and all that. But Collingwood always wins, so I'm going to tip in Collingwood because it's at home for Collingwood and because they are the better team. So I think Collingwood win in another close one, since that's what seems to always happen between these two. Moving on to Saturday twilight, we have the GWS Giants taking on is it Fremantle? They have these really stupid names for the teams again. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm going to be the GWS Giants in this one, about 27 points. GWS seem to be back now after defeating Geelong, in Geelong defying the match fixing to get the job done. Now they have a home game against a very struggling Fremantle. Fremantle, arguably the best list in the competition, but just probably the worst coach and just terrible chemistry. I mean, they have a lot of selfish players on their team, like Shea Bolton. It's all about me for a lot of their players. It's not about the team. So that's why Fremantle severely underperform, and they will again against the Giants on the weekend when the Giants go ahead and defeat Fremantle at home. Since it's at home for the Giants, it's obviously a big advantage for them. Moving on to Saturday night, it's another. Why is there 2 Saturday twilight games? What the fuck? We have Port Adelaide taking on Geelong at the Adelaide Oval. I'm going to be Geelong in this one by 1 point because I have no idea who to tip again. I mean, if Geelong had have beaten GWS, I would have definitely been tipping them. But the thing is, Port are not in very good form at all. I mean, their last 3 games. I lost to Adelaide in a close one, which always happens in the showdown anyway. But before then, they got destroyed by the Western Bulldogs. And then they could barely beat North, so their form is not good. So I'm going with Geelong since it seems like the majority have gone with Geelong, so this is more a defensive tip. Not only that, we all know that Geelong will be severely protected by the match fixing, as they always are. So with that coming into account, I'm just going to tip Geelong just by the 1 point because anything can happen in this game. Anything can happen. Who knows who'll win this game. But moving on to Saturday night, finally, we have the Western Bulldogs taking on Essendon at Marvel Stadium. Go to the Western Bulldogs in this one by 44 points. I mean, Essendon, their ladder position in their win-loss ratio is actually pretty decent, but they haven't impressed me yet. They haven't really beaten anyone decent, and I feel like when they do go up against someone decent, I mean, they don't look too good, and, you know, they have only just beaten a couple of really bad teams by small margins, like West Coast and North of Melbourne, so they haven't proven anything to me yet at all. And this is around about the time of season when they start to slump anyway. So that'll happen. And the Bulldogs are on fire anyway. They're clearly the better team. So you just got to go the Bulldogs in this. And I think the Dogs, they win it pretty easily, I'd say, at Marvel. Moving on to Sunday afternoon, we have Richmond taking on North Melbourne at the MCG. Now, I will be attending this game as well. I did actually meet some viewers at the Richmond West Coast game. I forgot to mention that in the Supercoach video, but I did meet a couple of my viewers, so that was pretty good. Now I'm going to be tipping Richmond in this one by 23 points. So obviously Richmond are clearly the better team. It's at home for them. So I think Richmond should be able to get the job done against North Melbourne. North Melbourne, just a pathetic club, really. I mean, bunch of losers, really. The only reason they drew with Brisbane is because Brisbane are useless in Tasmania, apparently. Other than that, North of Melbourne have just been getting slapped around by pretty much every team. And, I mean, I think Richmond, just coming off the win against West Coast last week, will make it 2 in a row. Against North of Melbourne, I am sure Richmond will be able to defy the match fixing, as they did against, Carlton. Really thick match fixing there. Richmond were able to defy it. So I can't see why they won't be able to defy it against North of Melbourne. At the MCG on Sunday, I'll be there to witness it. Moving on to the other Sunday afternoon game, we have Brisbane taking on Melbourne at the Gabba. I'm going to win Brisbane in this one by 66 points. Brisbane will be pissed off after almost losing to one of the worst teams in AFL history, North of Melbourne. And they're going up against a garbage team again in Melbourne. And, I mean, it's at home now. So I think they'll destroy Melbourne very easily. This is by far the easiest tip of the week. So not really much else you can say. Moving on to Sunday twilight, we have West Coast taking on St Kilda at Optus Stadium. I mean, this is a chance for West Coast to win. But I feel like St Kilda, that they're always a threat to lose against West Coast, especially in Optus, but they always seem to get over the line. So I'm going to win St Kilda in this one by 26 points. I just can't see West Coast winning a game this year. They're just by far the worst team in the competition. As for St Kilda, they're the most inconsistent team in the competition. One week they look amazing, the next week they're absolutely pathetic. I guess we'll wait and see what version of St Kilda we get. That's why I would give West Coast a chance in this one, because if we get a pathetic version of St Kilda, West Coast will beat them 100%. But if we get a really good version of St Kilda, they could absolutely destroy West Coast. So the safe option really is to just go with the better team, and that is St Kilda in this case. So those are my tips for round 10. Feel free to leave your tips in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment for more like this. Be sure to become a channel member. Just click the join button next to my name. Also, be sure to subscribe to my Premier Making Goals with Nick. Link to his channels in the description. Also, be sure to subscribe to my other YouTube channels. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast channel, King Snags of Stoody. Also, be sure to subscribe to my second YouTube channel, Stoody Archives. Links to both of those are in the description. Also, be sure to join my Discord server, Discord Australian Sports Community. Link to that is in the description. Also, be sure to follow me on my other social media accounts. I have Twitter and also have TikTok. The username for all those is StoodyYT. Links to all of those will also be in the description. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next video.